Hello, and welcome to The Beacons Are Lit, a Lord of the Rings podcast. I'm the host, Mike Marbach, and today I am joined by Matt Guerin.
Hello.
Kelly Conrad.
Hello.
And Stacey Lyons.
Hello.
Hello. The Fellowship has joined once again to talk about the Lord of the Rings films, still going through the Fellowship of the Ring. And we, of course, pick up where we left off. We talked about last episode doing some limericks. I assigned everyone limericks to write, and I forgot. I forgot to do it. So we are saving those for our next episode. But if you are listening and you want to write a Lord of the Rings limerick for us to read on that episode or a future episode, just send them to us whenever you want and we'll read it. We've got nothing else to do. So send those to hello@xroadscomedy.com and we will read it on the air. All right. So we do pick up where we left off. And that is Gandalf just bit it.
Such a bummer. I started this today from where we left off, and it was just everybody crying.
Yeah.
This will be a fun episode.
I feel like we're getting there, guys. I feel like we don't have that much left.
It's true.
And I always thought
Seems
of
like
that as like the halfway point, but we're over the hump. We're like,
Oh, yeah.
we're in our boats. We're rowing to the end.
Yeah.
Oh, not yet.
In a-
Right now, we're still crying. We get that
We're
close
crying.
up of Frodo, which I mean, Elijah Wood just really earns his paycheck in that shot. It's like
Sean Astin.
love
also.
Sean Astin was
Sean
such a good
Astin.
crier.
Oh my God, such a good crier.
The way that he just pours his head like into his
Yeah.
hand and is
Yeah.
slouched over.
It looks
Oh.
absolutely distraught. And if I ever meet him, I would like to ask him what his emotional process was like getting ready. Like, did he just fake that, or did he like method act that? Like, did he bring up memories from his past? I need to know.
It was so
Sean Astin,
powerful.
please tell me.
Well, and what I like about that scene is not only do we get you get such a glimpse of how people show their emotion. So the hobbits are very emotional. Boromir looks like very distraught. Gimli is like out of control. Legolas is dead inside.
Confused. He looks so confused. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't even
Legolas is
understand.
just like looking around, like there's a hobbit, there's a hobbit, and
I
there's a
think
hobbit.
Legolas-
Like, what are you doing?
It looks like he
issue
doesn't
is-
understand death.
Yeah.
Is that what you're-
yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah, I
probably
guess that
hasn't
makes
seen
sense.
it, but he
Yeah.
has to know the concept, but maybe not the feeling. I don't know.
But well, then he said, he's really distraught in Lothlorien so much that he can't even translate. So I don't know.
Right.
The moment
Yeah,
that
so-
gets me
yeah.
is Merry holding Pippin.
Mm.
Just
Mhm.
Oh,
Pippin's
yeah.
losing his shit. Mary's like, it's
Yeah, and it's so
Pippin, the guilt he must carry,
yeah.
and Gimli, the guilt he must carry, and
Yeah.
Frodo,
Mhm.
the guilt he must carry. I mean, this is not a simple thing. Obviously.
well, it's like
that happened.
we're panning to all of these the Fellowship's faces, and then like you would think that you'd see Frodo pretty quickly, but then he's last and he's like walking away alone, just
Wandering
like
off. Yeah.
yeah. And then I absolutely love that shot. Always maybe doesn't make me cry anymore, but always conjures tears. I think
Yeah.
it's like so beautiful. His face is like it is so wonderful.
And
He's
the
known
angelic
Gandalf
score
for so
underneath
long.
everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The-
Oh,
The score really makes. I started it and like the volume was like low, and so it was just kind of like everybody crying. And I will say, without the volume on, at least just entering in cold to like that scene and like no lead up to it, I was like, everybody's really trying to look sad right now. Like everyone's really trying really hard to be depressed. Like I could hear Jackson being like, okay, now put your head in your hands. You're really, really upset. You're really, really sad. But you
Take
turn
your
that
fist,
music
put
up.
up to your eyes and
Yeah.
turn them around a little bit.
And then by the
It's-
time
yeah.
Frodo turns around and that score is there, it's just like, "Oop, now I'm
And the
getting choked
minute-
up all of a sudden.
the minute
Mhm.
that they leave Moria and it's like blindingly light out, and then
Yeah.
there's like that piercing choir, just like it's
Yeah.
just really, really, really well
Right.
done.
And we
Mhm.
get Kelly's line, which is the Boromir line.
Give them a moment for pity's sake.
Yeah, because Aragorn's like, all right, up and at him.
I
Yeah.
know.
Daylight here,
Well,
people.
someone
Well, that's-
had to. I mean, someone
that's
had
how-
to take
Yeah,
leadership, and that's what you got to do. You got to get
that's
out
how
of
he's
there.
gonna deal with it. He's just gonna swallow it down, press onward.
Yeah.
But
Sam,
I
Frodo,
love,
come on.
I did love that moment of Boromir because it shows Boromir's humanity. I think Boromir is like such a symbol of man's fragility, both in the good and the bad ways. So it was just really nice to like see that emotion
Mhm.
from one of the
Yeah.
men.
And he genuinely cares about the hobbits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like on
Genuinely
this
does.
on this watch, especially, trying to back up my critique of Sean Bean's casting, I was
Let's circle back to that.
in this, no, I don't want to, but in this section, I stand by it. But in this section, I'm like, I'm just like realizing, or just like taking in a lot more of the development that they do with Boromir in this section. I'm like, oh man, they really do try to like endear him to the hobbits, and he really is like, he's in the boat with the hobbits, and he's like, he is like their protector, and like really
Wrestling
becomes like
around.
a friend with them. And I don't know that I really
Give him
like,
a good wrestle.
yeah, I don't know that my focus was really on that before, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Boromir's getting a new life for me in this go around.
Would have loved to see like Merry holding Pippin and like a shot of like Boromir like creeping
Holding
his way
Merry.
in. Yeah, wrapping his arms around slowly, like
You zoom out
Yeah.
and he's actually on Boromir's in Boromir's lap.
Yeah, because we get a real sense of the distance that's covered, but it's real hard to grasp how much time has passed within these films at times. So you got to figure like they're covering vast distances, which means they're also covering, and they're on foot for the most part. So they're also covering, it's a lot of time that they're spending together. So there are bonds that get forged within that fellowship. That makes sense that Boromir would, feel for Gandalf, but also for everybody that's feeling for Gandalf.
Yeah, totally. It's been weeks now, and when you're all camping together and like sleeping together and eating together, it's
Mhm.
takes
Mhm.
a weekend to form like a lifelong bond. you
Yeah.
know?
Or
Yeah.
if you're drunk in a bar, maybe a one bathroom trip, and then lifelong companions. But,
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Most of this section that we are covering is a lot of montage of them just traveling different distances. A large chunk of this is them in Lothlorien, which is where we are headed now. So they enter the woods of Lothlorien with the elvish music kind of coming in, and the woods themselves have a odd glow about them.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Lothlorien, it's like
moment-
it's
Creepy,
gorgeous. It's a little creepy.
Yeah. With
A
the
little
moment
creepy.
when they see the forest for the first time after leaving the mines, and you see Aragorn's face and he just like looks so relieved. That was just like such a little moment I hadn't really noticed before. It must be so. And then like that next to the scene, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, where he's like, go to sleep, these borders are well protected. What
Mhm.
a lovely, even just the pacing of the movie, like a lovely moment of just like refuge after this horrible dark
Yeah.
battle. This scene, this whole section really like kind of slowed the movie down a little bit and gave them that moment to breathe. And I really like how it followed.
It gave them the moment to mourn too. Like
Mhm.
like Lothlorien
Mhm.
itself is visually a candlelight vigil. Like this is like their time to grieve and their time to like process. And correct me if I'm wrong, theatrical cut Kelly, your new nickname, but I feel like they cut a lot of Lothlorien out in the theatrical cut, because I remember in my first watch the extended cut being like, oh, we're here for way longer. Who was
Yeah.
Galadriel? Like I didn't really remember at that point, and then I was like, there's a lot of her in this kind of deal. But
Matt, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, they cut out
Checks out.
yes, theatrical Kelly is here to assure you that you were correct. Yeah, there are definitely bits of conversations that are just trimmed down a lot. And then the gift giving scene is totally omitted, which is such a bummer. That's probably one of the scenes where I'm like, oh, this is such a good moment, because you really do get that feeling of like they needed a morale boost, and that gift giving section I feel like really provides that. But we only get the Light of Elendil in the theatrical. So yeah, you were correct.
Yeah.
It is a shame too, because like just to your point, Stacey, it is so beneficial to the pacing and the growth of these characters, just to give it a second to breathe, because it just adds so much more weight to who Gandalf was too, if we have this whole scene basically devoted to mourning him.
I will say that yes, Lothlorien provided a very safe fortress, but I'm not sure Frodo was able to really relax. He was getting a lot of heat. Just a lot of accusations, rightfully so, right? He's carrying the most dangerous thing in Middle Earth, but it's like
pure darkness,
great evil. Yeah.
Great evil,
and
pure
people
evil.
just kept on telling him that. And the minute he enters Lothlorien, you get those like quick shots of like Galadriel's eyes and her voice and stuff. It's like he just experienced this super intense trauma losing Gandalf. And then he's like, oh, you're bringing something here. You guys can't be here long. So I feel a little bad for Frodo.
Do you want to watch a video of your home burning?
Exactly. Exactly. And it's just this pressure, right? This pressure of like, you have to do this. The whole universe is like in your hands.
Yeah. And also Boromir also makes it very clear he's not having a good time. And so, yes, I think some of the characters are, having trouble, but overall I think it serves the movie well to have a scene like this. And it gives us a second to be like, I don't think Gandalf's coming back, guys. Like usually he comes back. I don't think he's coming back this time. So it was a nice breath to take, I think, in that moment.
Absolutely.
And also just like, just visually, like we talked about where we would live in Lord of the Rings, I think on Mike, and this would be my pick. Like this is like the most beautiful thing I've ever place I've ever seen. Like the stairs winding up in the trees and the soft
exactly.
light.
They're like big tree houses.
It's awesome. It's like fancy. It's like bougie luxe Ewok village. Like it is just like, you want to go
twinkly lights
everywhere. Yeah.
That's how they did Galadriel's eyes. I'm sure everyone knows that by now, but her eyes are always sparkling. They had just mass amounts of Christmas lights behind the cameras.
I was gonna say, I was like, Galadriel's got like 3
sparkle eyes.
Sparkle eyes. I never saw it before.
I think that might have been in the commentary. I don't remember, but I know that they used just like strands of Christmas lights for that, which I think is fantastic.
That's amazing.
So
just back to the basics, nothing fancy.
Yeah. Taking it back just a bit, you have Gimli talking about the elf witch of great terrible power. All who look upon her fall upon her spell. Frodo's hearing the voice in his head. We have the "you bring great evil" here. As the wood elves get the jump on Gimli after he's like, you got something. It was basically, you gotta get up pretty early in the morning to fool. Fuck, son of a bitch.
He's like, I have the eyes of a hawk and the ears of a
oh no. The dwarf breathed so loud we could have shot him in the dark.
That's
Gimli
so mean, but what a great
insults them in
line.
dwarvish.
That's a great line.
So mean.
And at first, dude is like, you got a lot of evil. It's gonna harsh our vibe. So if you could buzz off,
move along.
Yeah, keep it moving. And then Aragorn is like, wah 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 wah, and then she's like, wah 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 wah, and they just
wah wah wah.
And then he's like, all right, let's go.
Not before Gimli curses him out in Elvish,
Dwarvish.
which was really, or Dwarvish, which was very funny. I had to look up what he said.
I did too.
Yeah.
What did he say?
What do you guys think he said?
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Close enough.
I wish it was more like that. It was very Lord of the Ringsy of I spit on your grave is what it means.
Oh, classic.
Which is like, but it would have been funny if it meant something a little
Go fuck yourself.
I think they would have just been kicked out right then and there. This is our first time we meet Haldir, which is the name of that welcoming elf who we later see at Helm's Deep. And I gotta say, he grows on me as a character the more I watch the movies, because at first you're like, okay, this guy's gonna come and go, and then he comes back, and the more I watch it, the more I really just enjoy him. I don't know.
He's a sassy elf.
Yeah.
He's got some suit.
Yeah, he's like the gatekeeper of Bree, but as an elf in Lothlorien.
Oh,
you have to be suspicious.
This is our own.
in last week's episode, we talk about Arwen showing up to Helm's Deep and how that was like cut out. And this is the elf that shows up to Helm's Deep. And then knowing that in retrospect, this scene with him where he like does kind of feel like a reshoot or something, like it is just like the principal cast and mainly like him, like in an isolated location. And it was just like, all right, let's like put in like, they're the guards of Lothlorien. They catch him first. They have a little conversation and then we never see him again until Helm's Deep kind of deal.
Yeah. And we'll talk about it in 6 months or so when we get to Helm's Deep. But that is such a great moment when he does show up and he says something along the lines of, an alliance once stood between men and elves. We are here to honor that allegiance. After that moment where they're like, oh yeah, everyone has seen, some of them seen too many winters, some of them not enough kind of thing.
Some too few.
Oh, such a good scene. Oh my God. I can't wait.
Yeah, can't wait for Two Towers, y'all.
Yeah,
Oh man.
So Boromir and Frodo are talking about Gandalf. His death was not in vain. He would not want you to give up hope. Don't you carry the, he said something like, you carry the weight of the ring, the weight of so many, do not carry the weight of the dead.
Oh, loved that. Loved that.
Oh, wow.
I love that. Well, I think that again, Boromir is still like trying to soothe the hobbits and soothe himself of just like giving them a much needed pep talk. No one else is really doing that.
Yeah.
He's doing that. He's getting inundated with like thoughts and feelings of home. He's like his father's favorite, the eldest, the white hope of Gondor. You can imagine how many different feelings he has, thinking like, I should have gotten this ring to save my people. I'm letting my father and family down, but I'm on this quest and I must serve the council and Frodo, but I really want to go home and show them and like take care. And like, I think he genuinely thinks that the Fellowship will be safe in Gondor, but also they won't be because, you know, we know what's going on there. We know that they would try to take the ring, but I can't imagine how conflicted he is. And I feel like this is where we see like all of his turmoil, right? And at the same time, we're seeing these little moments where he's like caring for other people. Every time I watch this, I'm like blown away by what they do with Boromir in such a short period of time.
Yeah, Boromir's he's really getting some moments in this section. And
he's getting some moments.
Sean Bean's delivering. He's doing great work.
Isn't he, Matt? Isn't he?
I never said he was a bad actor.
I know.
So we reach the entrance of Lothlorien, and I'd like to think that Haldir does this every time, regardless whether he's with company or not. He just kind of Callus Galadhorn, realm of Celeborn, and Galadriel, Lady of Light. Just kind of introduces the whole thing. So just shows up every time he comes home. He's just like, here we are. Realm of Celeborn and Galadriel, Lady of Light. What news have ye? Galadriel comes out and is blinding. Absolutely
Lady of
blinding.
Light.
Yeah. Then they spared no expense on how many lumens Galadriel was giving off for sure. And Sauron apparently knows what's going on. Knows where they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Some of this, I'm going to be honest, some of this dialogue it went past me because I was focusing on the delivery of it, which is like Galadriel does the thing where, you know, she's like a seer and she's like got all these powers. So she talks like very monotone, but then Celeborn does that too. And I think he's just mimicking her because later on we see him talking totally normally to the Fellowship. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? So his delivery was really getting me at certain points of me just sitting there being like, what's he even saying?
His ritual voice.
9 set out, but only 8 of you there are.
Where is Gandalf?
Gandalf,
like, look alive.
For I'd much desire to speak with him.
He was talking so weird. I couldn't get past some of the scene, but
also too soon, right? Like, how do they, I don't understand if like Galadriel is a seer, how she didn't know prior to that moment that Gandalf had perished, or maybe
she just didn't get a chance to.
Maybe she was buffering.
She wasn't looking in the mirror then.
Oh yeah,
I think she's
not omnipotent. In the future, seers, oracles. It's always like there's a, it's always kind of shady and stuff.
Like I just watching the security cams. He didn't pass the borders. We would have seen him on monitor 3.
Got it live on Khazad-dûm cam.
I just like who told people who are like magical or like whatever to talk like that. Like, why is that the trope? Why can't they emote? Why does Bran Stark become like that? Like, I just don't get why. Like, if I were super magical, I would be
Spice it up a bit.
Yeah, I'd be like super animated. Like, oh, guess what I saw?
Yeah.
Everybody, he's dead.
Guess what is in the future?
Yeah. She has said that he has fallen into shadow, and I think it's Legolas that's like, excuse me, fallen into a shadow and flame. Thank you.
Actually, it was
it was a Balrog of Mordor.
Thank you.
I wrote limericks about it. Would you like to hear?
Legolas takes a shot at Gimli because we had to go through Moria. Oh, and Gimli looks down like, oh shit. And
Gimli still doesn't seem to feel that bad about Moria.
He does kind of look down in shame a little bit, and that which was new to me because I didn't really ever pick up on Gimli being like, I kind of fucked up by leaving us in Moria. I'm sorry.
So much for a big welcome. Needless were the deeds of Gandalf in life. We do not yet know his full purpose.
That is not in the theatrical version.
Yeah, there's some really lovely things that she says that are like so comforting.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
right.
Galadriel, like, despite your weird vibe, like, you are kind of killing it right now.
Her vibes are so weird.
Yeah. Such weird vibes.
We're not even to the moment yet.
No, we are not. That's for dang sure.
Oh yeah.
She's a surprise.
Another line I liked, which is kind of powerful, is in all lands, love is now mingled with grief.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I love Kate. I think Galadriel is. I love the performance here. I think Galadriel's so captivating. I love the way that they show how her effect on people, especially on Boromir. He gets so sweaty so fast. He cannot handle.
He's like quivering.
And he's like, and like nobody's meeting her eyes, and like we talked about the reflections in her eyes, and then she's got that TV actor of a husband, Celebor.
Yeah.
I don't, Martin Sokas is his name. I don't want to throw shade on this guy, but yeah, kind of a downer, and kind of like in a scene where everybody, I feel like, can hold the camera super well. Like every time they cut to this guy, I'm just like, who is this,
Gandalf?
I totally agree. And he's supposed to be like one of the most powerful elves, I'm pretty sure.
He's the king.
Isn't he in the intro as one of the elves with the rings of power? He's there.
I think he even like forged them. Like I think he helped forge them or something. If I'm remembering right from Shadows of Mordor,
he invented the rings.
I think he created.
I think he would be 1,000 times more impressive of a character if he just never spoke. Like imagine him just standing next to Galadriel, like looking at people. I'd be like, I want to know more about him. I want him to talk.
Yeah,
so, less is more, Celeborn.
Yeah. Cast somebody interesting looking that and just have them not talk, because he's kind of extra as a character. Like he has some words with Aragorn later on, but I'm like, could have also given that to Galadriel, or just like gotten rid of his character it completely almost. They
could have given it to Haldir, and then it's like, oh, he's the one he's our little go-between. Like I don't get the point of this guy.
I was fine with him. As I was saying, all leaders are not necessarily great orators. So he got the job done. I didn't have a problem with him until now.
Orators?
Yeah.
Is it orator or orator?
I don't know.
I like choice. Orator.
I think
don't get me wrong.
I didn't think you were wrong when you said orators.
Same. Yeah. But I do say orator. Yeah. But,
yeah. I say speakers.
I like the way I say it. Sounds.
I kind of do too.
It does sound cool. It sounds like the way Celeborn or Celeborn would say it.
Celeborn, the non-orator. And then, so he's being a real downer, and then we get that the quest now stands on the edge of a knife, stray but a little, and it will fail to the ruin of all. Yet hope remains while company is true. Right on Sam. Right on Sam while company is true.
And then the ruin of all is on Boromir.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
it's
who
just
else
you
would
must
it
be
be?
tired. Go put up your feet. Go rest a bit.
Take a
Go into
nap.
the treehouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get an air tree and tree.
Grab
Have
yourself a
sleep.
nice water with lime enriched with electrolytes.
Yeah.
A cucumber eye treatment.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And then we have the elves singing a lament for Gandalf. They ask Legolas what they're saying, and he's like, I can't. It's still too soon. I can't talk about
I
it.
can't right now.
Yeah.
That's what Legolas is doing. He's
Yeah,
like, no, I can't even.
Doesn't it though?
He
Doesn't it
doesn't
make you
look that
think?
upset.
It makes you think he doesn't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's just like
I
too
tell
sad,
but
you guys.
just
Like, I
get-
promise.
You'd get
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah.
Oh my
Like
God,
I know what
it's-
they're saying, but if I
Oh.
told you, you couldn't handle
Their
it.
dialect
so.
is a little different than like my dialect, but like I
Yeah.
totally get it. And like I studied
it's-
abroad here, and
It's so
I understand it better than I
beautiful,
say it. So yeah.
though. If you could only understand it though, like it's so beautiful. Like
Yeah.
this is a once in a lifetime experience.
Too sad to talk
I'm just-
about,
yeah.
but so nice. So nice. Yeah, and he's saying it too, like, oh, it's a lament for Gandalf. What are they saying? Oh, it's too sad. Can't talk about it. Like so monotone.
Yeah.
Too sad. Don't know.
He's not crying. There's not even like a hint of like teary eyed. It's just kind of like he's no frog in the throat or anything.
No, yeah, no lumps, no nothing.
Oh, what they're saying is, hold on 1 second. There's like
I would-
none of that.
love it if the script had like a beautiful speech by Legolas, like, and then like Orlando Bloom couldn't
Just
deliver
couldn't
it,
do
so
it.
they just could jump it.
It was his first
Too
movie,
sad.
right? This is
Yeah.
like his first
Yeah.
movie. So
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
It
Came out
maybe-
swinging.
Maybe that's what happened.
He's working on it.
Yeah, and I bet they don't
So they
mention his
gave the
fireworks,
scene to Sean Astin.
Yeah,
Yes.
which is great because he has a
Oh,
poem.
yeah.
It would be really great if we had limericks. Since
say,
yeah.
Wouldn't it,
for
Mike?
this particular
Wouldn't it?
scene.
Yeah.
And I bet they might just his fireworks, and he has his, which is nice, and then he doesn't quite stick the landing, which I thought was fine. I thought it was a good ending.
He was nervous. He was like
He got in his
nervous.
head.
He definitely got in his head. That's definitely not in the theatrical version. But yeah, I thought it was wonderful. And I think in words, it does do Gandalf's fireworks justice.
Mhm.
It was really
Rain down
sweet.
flowers.
It's
Yeah.
nice. It's sweet.
And I
yeah.
thought his orator his
Don't
orator
overthink
skills.
it. Don't overthink it.
His
Just let it
oration.
roll off the tongue.
His orator.
Orator.
Yeah. Roll the R. It's a hard
Orator. Are
Must
very
take him
good.
to the fires of Mount Orator.
So good.
Nailed it. I can do it as good as you.
Oh, he's been saying it all his life.
Oh man. Boromir talking about Galadriel in his head. And she's like in his head and he's not taking any of this well whatsoever. He talks about Denethor looking to him to take over. And yeah, he's just feeling the pressures of everything right now. And also the feeling that, as we'll see in a bit, of Aragorn not wanting to no trust. And as I keep saying in these podcasts, the feeling that he is not enough, especially now that the true heir has come forward, or at least we know who it is. He hasn't quite come forward yet, but he's there.
Yeah,
So
he says
Boromir's
so
feeling a
many-
lot of feelings.
So many feelings, like conflicting feelings. And the one person he's opening up to consistently is Aragorn, which is like also a source of all his feelings. It's just a really tough time for him. I feel like he and Aragorn have this very lovely, like, friendship / it seems like they hate each other, but like they really care about each other.
They seem
I
like
can't-
brothers. They always, they
Yeah.
visually kind of like look like brothers.
Yeah.
People get them confused all the time, and I probably did too. I was like, which one's the one of the, but
Mm.
yeah, they kind of feel like brothers to me, and the way that they kind of argue, and the way Aragorn's definitely the older brother, and Boromir's the like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
come
Well,
on, let's go to Gondor. Haven't you ever come home to the singing of silver trumpets? Like, oh my God, remember
I love that.
home?
Moment when he's like, have you ever seen the White Tree of Ecthelion? And Aragorn's like, yeah, before you were born, dude. Like, yes, I have.
Yeah.
You idiot.
Well, that's such a good point though, is because Boromir is so used to being in that older brother role, and then suddenly he's demoted to this kind of younger brother role with Aragorn, and it doesn't seem like he really likes it that much.
Mm-hmm.
No.
He's a little lost. He's out of his element, and he's trying. I'm
He's
so
used to
glad you're
calling the
here, Matt.
shots.
You're the brother here. Are you
he's
the only
the-
brother in this
I'm a little brother,
podcast?
though.
Thank you for nailing that on the head.
And he's like the
I'll-
golden boy too. So he's used to
Yeah.
just being praised. He's daddy's favorite.
Well, that's why he
Mhm.
has no second ideas, because he's so hung up on let's go to Gondor. Let's go to Gondor.
Yeah. If I
And
can't
they've
have
already
the
shot it
ring,
down
yeah.
a couple times. Like
It's really nice though.
Maybe in
It's
another
really
way.
nice.
It's like
Mhm.
when they're all like talking about like the routes they're gonna take, like they're just talking, and Barbara like, what about
What about
Gondor?
Gondor?
And then there's like silence, and then they go back and talk about what they were talking about before, and like
Mhm.
it just keeps happening over and over.
The
Yeah,
other thing with Boromir and Aragorn is that each place they do go, everybody's like, Aragorn! When they get to Lothlorien, who was it? Haldir? Or no, I think it was Celeborn, who's like, oh, Aragorn of the Dunedain. Yeah, we know you.
Yeah.
You're good people. Come on in.
Yeah, he says it. He
you
says
are
it
known
in
to us.
yes, you are known to us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what a cool way to be like, I've seen you around.
Heard good things.
I heard some things.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Your
That you are
reputation
known
precedes
to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boromir kind of reminds me of just a really short anecdote. I'll make it quick. My high school senior trip to
Here we go again.
To the
To,
watchtower of Amansu.
to Orlando. We were at Disney. We were at Animal Kingdom. We were waiting in line to go on. Me and a group of my friends. We were waiting in line to go on. What's the big roller coaster in Animal Kingdom? Mount Everest
Magic
or
Mount? Oh.
something Everest, Expedition Everest. And there was like my one kind of friend was like, we can go in the single line and we can all just go. Like, we just have to go one at a time. And we're all like, we want to go together. We're just going to like wait it out. Like, it's not that long of a line. Just like 30 minutes of him being like, single lane though. Like, if we all just like go in the single lane. And finally I blew up at him, and I still feel bad about it to this day. But I blew up. I was like, dude, you want to go on the single line? Just go. We're staying here. And then he was like, fine, I'm going. And he went out by himself. Didn't see him again for the rest of the trip, and it kind of ruined our friendship. And I feel bad because he was a good guy. But that's kind of what that relationship reminds me of. We did kind of
Wow.
have like an older brother, little brother,
man.
at least in my perspective, kind of relationship.
Wow. He
It's
pulled a
rough.
Boromir.
Little
Yeah.
Boromir. Yeah.
Total bore.
I don't know why I felt the need to backtrack and say that
No, no,
story, but
it's
it's,
quite
Well,
Quite
it's
all right.
the vibes that
if
Boromir
he's
gives.
listening right now, Matt, what would you like to say?
Yeah.
to
Well,
him?
what would you say to him?
You know, buddy, I was in the wrong. Let's reconnect, you know?
Hmm.
I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
There's no way he's listening.
No, absolutely not. And also it's probably too late.
Yeah.
Right.
It's never too late. Forgiveness arrives precisely when it means to.
Aww.
You wrote
Boromir
me-
and Aragorn, in their last moments of talking in that scene, Boromir's like at the talks of the lords of Gondor returning. Like, he's so like, we can do it. Let's go back. It's not gonna happen.
He loves
Uh,
Gondor so much, you guys.
He's like
Thing-
obsessed with Gondor.
Like, if they made it today, he would be in a Gondor sweatshirt the whole
Yeah.
time.
We
have a Gondor
Galadriel-
tattoo. Sorry.
Right. Galadriel wakes up in the middle of the night, apparently, to go see what's going on elsewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Frodo comes following her and looks in the mirror. She's very extra with this, too. She's like one of those
Oh,
super
yeah.
high pours all the way down.
But the way
Um,
that the light hits the water, I always thought was really awesome.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Everything about this scene is beautiful.
She's putting on
Things that were,
a little show for him.
things that are, and some things that have not yet come to pass.
come to pass. Also, the
Legolas-
grass in Lothlorien looks fantastic. I just wanted to throw that out there as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
I think it's all the leaves falling and they're not raking. So it's just like, you're not supposed to rake your leaves. You're supposed to let them decompose.
Like
bring that
fertilize your
nitrogen in.
grass.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. He takes a look, doesn't see anything, looks up. It's not working. Takes another look down and he sees Legolas,
broke.
Merry, Pippin, Sam. He sees the Shire under attack with orcs and it's burning, the Scourge.
The
Awful.
first,
And-
the first images are just over the shoulder shots of his friends,
Yeah.
like looking back at him, and I'm like, "Is this what this all is?"
Yeah, they're all behind. And then we see Sauron, and the ring is kind of getting pulled in a little bit, and then he kind of breaks away and falls backwards. Great shot too, showing the scale and everything. I know what it is you saw because it was also in my head. Like,
I know what it is you saw.
Or
She
it was
is
also
so-
in my mind.
Yeah, she's a lot.
Yeah. Dude, she's so extra. She's a big old drama queen.
Yeah.
She might be second in line to Gandalf as far as drama goes.
sure.
Oh,
She's being so
I don't
dramatic
know.
this whole
How would
time.
you rank
This next
Gandalf,
moment.
Galadriel, and Elrond though? Because those are
Elrond's-
my top 3 most extras.
I
That's
think
Uh,
it's Gandalf, Galadriel, Elrond.
The Elrond?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Because
yeah.
Elrond is mostly vocal, more gravitas in the
Yes.
voice. And
Yeah.
Gandalf is actions and kind of gravitas and attitude. And Galadriel is kind of
Props.
a mix of those.
Yeah.
A mix of those things. And
Yeah.
magic.
She like takes on this whole persona that she like won't break until the
Yeah.
minute she's like, I'm also a ring bearer, by the way. Anyway.
Look.
Back to back to
Uh,
me.
Yeah, she carries the ring of Nenya. And I want to like Frodo, what is the ring of Nenya? Nenya business. Oh, really? What is it?
It's Nanya.
Nenya business.
Long pause where Frodo doesn't ask. Okay.
I was going to tell you anyway, but it's none your business. Yeah, and I know what it is you saw. He will take the ring. You know of whom I speak, or by one, it will destroy them all. And then there's that. If you ask it of me, I will give it to you freely. And then she has her whole thing where had to awoken everybody in Lothlorien.
Yeah.
Everybody was sound asleep, and then she just goes from 0 to 100.
Yeah, she turns photo negative, and her voice becomes
Would you love a queen?
Causes gale
Oh,
winds.
Yeah,
Would have loved a cutaway shot of Haldir just like rolling his eyes like this shit again. What is it, 3 a.m.? Of course
Yeah.
she's up to this
Mhm.
every
It-
night.
in terms of effects in this movie, I don't know. This one has always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And
It's weird.
It's fine. Like it's not terrible, but it feels, it takes me out of it more than other like effects or like big kind of moments in the movie do. I'm kind of always like, what's going on here? Why does she look like that and sound like that? Because even her voice, like for a movie that has such great sound design and like just like her voice sounds like a kind of like early attempt at making like a deep scary voice. Like it doesn't suit it's not in line with the quality of the rest of the voices in the movie.
Yeah,
I
they
think.
add that like deep layer onto it. It's like, yeah. I remember seeing this for the first time and really being taken aback. Like I was very shocked. I was not expecting it at all. And
Between
like,
Bilbo and
Yeah.
and
I was like,
Galadriel.
I was like, I don't like, I was 12. I was like, I don't know if she's a good character or a bad character. Like, I don't know what the fuck that was.
It's very
Yeah.
confusing. I still
Yeah.
kind of don't know what it is.
Yeah. I don't, yeah. Well, now I'm just like, I don't think they really knew what it was.
No
you know?
one
I don't
really
think this is-
knows what that is.
Yeah. This is no longer my fault for not understanding this. You know, you get older.
Yeah,
It was like
feels
a
it's
glimpse.
supposed to be like Gandalf, when he starts talking in like Mordor-ish or whatever, and like everything gets dark around him.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be that kind of deal, I feel like, but more ominous and kind of like more terrifying for us.
It could
as
also
the
be just a
audience.
general connection to the ring, because we see that from the different people that have held rings or have rings, right? Gandalf, who I'm looking at our Slack. Gandalf wears one of the 3 elven rings of power, Narya, which gives its wearer the ability to inspire hope in others. That's from an image, not necessarily fully. I don't think that it's quite that specific, but it is one of the rings of power. And then you have Bilbo kind of has one of those moments. He's carried a ring, and now Galadriel, who carries Nenya. Nenya, also known as a white ring, ring of adamant, and ring of water, was one of the 3 rings of power given to the elves of Middle Earth in the Second Age.
It's a cool looking
Yeah.
ring, not
Mhm.
for nothing. It's
No.
probably the coolest looking ring.
Yeah, it's a good ring.
It's very pretty.
Right.
Good ring. And then we go briefly to Isengard, where school is in session. And Saruman is
History.
giving a history lesson on the orcs.
Yeah.
And who is it?
Lurtz.
Lurtz is there, just like, oh, is this going to be on the test? You know,
This is maybe like
He's drooling blood and stuff. Dude's a mess.
Popped up on Adderall. He didn't
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
He's just like,
do you
God.
know?
I'm obsessed with the soundtrack to the mechanical clinking soundtrack in Isengard. I just
Mhm.
love this score
It's great.
so much. It's so makes so much sense.
I
I
can't.
love it so much. Yeah.
Did you know that orcs were once elves? I don't care. Just give me a sword, man. Set me loose. Let me
Give
do
me
my
one
thing.
of those swords with like the flat pike on top that like I don't know why that's so our thing, but it's our thing. Come
I
on,
thought this
dude.
was more like a vocational thing, not a liberal arts college, man. Come on.
It does
I'm here
give
to
you what
fight.
you want though, which is a little bit of explanation of like I don't know, like it is kind of cool to learn like who the orcs are and like how
Yeah,
they got
Saruman
the way
probably
they-
hasn't had anyone to talk to in so long. He's cut off all of his friends.
Yeah.
I don't know.
just
He's got
this.
that Palantir. He's he's dialed in. He's talking to people.
Yeah.
He's got Worm Tongue out there doing his
He's
thing.
typing away on the dark web. Have
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys heard
Oh,
about
dude, he's deep in the dark web. Saruman.
So, quick thing he
think he
goes over is
started
the orcs were elves once taken by the dark powers, tormented and twisted. So that's who they
Tortured.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't go into the light typically. So there's that. And then Lurtz is on the loose. You will taste man flesh. He's up there talking to like thousands and thousands of orcs who I got to imagine there's some that are just like, what's he saying?
can you hear him?
A little louder in the back. What was it?
The acoustics in here aren't so great.
Or maybe he has some sort of like magic and he just amplifies his voice.
They're like, can we turn down the score?
I can't hear you over the music. Yeah. Lurtz
in a
on the
dead
loose, you will
spot.
taste man flesh. One of them, he also says like, he pulls Lurtz aside, he's like, hey, one of them has something in mind and I want it back. But he never says exactly what it is.
Yeah, just bring the halflings to me unspoiled.
He says,
And he's
kill
like,
the
Kill
rest.
the others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unspoiled, you guys. That is a way worse word than alive. Like
Yeah.
he could have said alive and he said unspoiled, and it makes me
'Cause he
so
knows. He
uncomfortable.
knows what those orcs
Mhm.
get up to.
Yeah.
They're
I'm
nasty.
like, he knows that they could be missing arms, legs.
Mhm.
Yeah, bring them
What
back
about the
alive, but I
legs?
don't care the
They don't need
condition
those.
of their aliveness.
Yeah.
Unspoiled.
That's two towers, right? What about the legs? They don't need those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, they look tasty.
Which I got, like
Back on the menu, boys.
Oh, such a good
that guy.
line.
Love that guy.
Oh.
We had to talk about that. So we
Yeah.
leave Isengard. We go back to Lothlorien, where we're wrapping up. They know that they got to get back on the road, and Caraborn is still being such a nudge. Still being, hey, never have we given these cloaks to others, but I guess
What do
we
you
gotta
want from
give
us?
you
Like,
something.
thank you.
Yeah.
This is
Like-
also another one of those communication moments that drives me bananas. He goes, may
wow.
they like shield you from the enemy when you don't want to be seen or whatever. Just say they'll disguise you if you like how what does he want? Trial and error? Like, I don't understand how the hobbits ever figured out how to pull the cloaks over and make them look like rocks with that little information he gave them.
It was
Like,
it was
he-
very ambiguous.
He gave
Yeah.
them nothing.
Yeah, cloaks to shield you from unfriendly eyes, and lembas bread, which one small bite is enough to fill the stomach of a grown man.
Oh my gosh, this
Mary and Pippin just
moment.
nodding.
Oh, just like, oh, really? Kind of like
Nice.
false
Great.
interest.
How
Mm.
many did you eat? I ate 4.
For
And
Oh,
Mary's like
so good.
picking his teeth, Mary.
so fantastic.
Caraborn talking about the orcs traveling on land and under the sun, which is weird. He's like, they don't usually do it, but they're doing it. They're doing it. He's talking about the Uruk-hai mostly. And he says, go by the river. You'll be a little safer that way. Legolas, we talk about the gifts other than the cloaks. Everybody got the cloaks.
Everyone
You get a
got
cloak.
those.
You get a
Everyone
cloak.
got the
You get a cloak.
cloaks.
And they all get personalized gifts. Legolas gets the bow of Galadriel. Merry and Pippin daggers of Noldoran. And then this line also gets me too. Do not fear, young Peregrine Took. You will find
you
your
will
courage.
find your courage
Mhm.
because he
Mhm.
looks
He does.
scared. He has his
Mhm.
dagger and he's like, oh, sharp. And
Sharp.
Galadriel
He's Irish.
knows.
Yeah.
You have a banjo back there.
Yeah. That line stuck out to me this viewing as well.
Mhm.
Mhm. Sam gets elven rope made of heathlin, and he wants a dagger. What about
Oh
one of
my
those
God,
shiny
that
daggers?
line. Have you run
like-
out of those nice
Yeah.
shiny daggers?
She's like,
Gives
I'm
him a
not-
look like,
I'm
"Shut
not
up."
giving you a dagger.
Yeah.
Oh, she has the sweetest smile to
Yeah,
give him.
sweetest
though.
blow off face.
Yeah, Galadriel's like
Um,
back. She's like normal now. This is like the
So
Galadriel
is
I can like hang
Celeborn.
with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like,
he's
what was
like,
up last night with you guys?
they were stoned, is what
Well,
happened.
Yeah.
Like,
Not
the
used
whole-
to company. Not
yeah,
used
the
to
whole
company.
fellowship came in.
Wow.
They weren't expected, and they were high out of their minds. And that's where,
I'm,
where is Gandalf?
I'm very curious
I
as
want
to
the-
like the shooting
he
schedule.
When I looked in the water, he was there, and then I looked again, he's not there. What happened? in
Why
between
isn't
these guys?
Gandalf in the water? Can I get some lamb
No, no, no.
bread, please?
He fell into the shadow.
The shadow, yeah.
Excuse me, shadow and flame.
Galadriel,
I don't
know if you
And Gimli's getting super weird too. Super
he's
weird
in
here.
love with Galadriel.
Yeah.
He's a
I
little
love
smitten.
that this back and forth really delights me. I really love specifically because they fade out or they dissolve into them being on the boats, because it's kind of like a flashback. We're kind of going back and forth between them already being on the way on the boats and them getting the gifts, and they dissolve with Gimli just mummering, just kind of like stumbling over his words and not really sure how to. And I'm like, I've never seen that before, and that is so funny to just kind of trail off the scene as a person's trailing off in their words is really
Yeah.
good.
At first he's saying like, "Oh, I don't need anything. You've given me everything," and that's like the vision of your beauty.
I
I'm
just want to
paraphrasing
look at
Gimli
you
here.
one more time.
Fairest thing
and
I've ever
then-
seen.
And then A Star Is Born just took that line, didn't they? They gave it to Bradley Cooper. I'm not, whatever. Calling
And this
you
is
out.
also, I feel like, important in Gimli's arc too, because his love of Galadriel is kind of like what then starts him and Legolas to start getting along, where I feel like he's got this now like respect for like the beauty of the elves and like
Mhm.
and
You
their
see,
culture
that's
that
the
they didn't
first
have
time
before.
you see Legolas like help him into the boat. Like he takes
Yeah.
him by the hand, and you're like, oh, that's a nice little
Mhm.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Mhm.
With Aragorn, she says basically like, you've gotten all you need, and that's the love of Arwen. And he says that he wants her to go to Arwen to go to Valinor before she dies. And she also says you have the choice: rise above all your ancestors or fall into darkness. You decide which one you're going to choose. And says we shall not meet again, Elisar. So
Bye.
bye. And to you, Frodo, the light of Erendiel, our most beloved star, let it be light for you in dark places when all other lights go out.
Love it.
I
Mhm.
think
So good.
I'm really curious about the shooting schedule a little bit because I feel like Kate Blanchett is at her best in this scene. I don't know how you guys feel, but like
Mhm.
her
So
balance of being like ominous with like just very small like word choices and delivery is like so much more powerful and pronounced than the earlier scenes, I think, where she's like feels like she's trying stuff on and giving stuff a little too much, where this one she's like beautiful, endearing, sympathetic, empathetic, and then also kind of terrifying in like very quick moments.
It's
Mhm.
like Aragorn's vocal work at the Council of Elrond
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't understand
It
what
has no other master.
It has now the master.
I just don't understand the difference between their arrival, aside from like cold feet of people who never have company. Like, what's the why is she so different? Is she over her ring thing? Like, was she weird because the ring was there, but now she knows she like can't, won't, shouldn't take it, so now she's over it? Like,
You know how
I
like
don't
when you
know.
have you know how when you have like company over, like people staying at your place, and like you get there like, hey, kind of, blah, blah, and then they're there, and you're kind of like, Jesus, I just want to like fucking do my own thing in my living room or something, and then they're leaving. They're like, great, good to see you. Bye.
Yeah.
Love it.
She's in a good mood because they're leaving.
Yeah, she's feeling great. She's free of the burden.
So perfect having her ride into the goodbye scene on the swan
in a swan boat.
And I thought that they were going to give the fellowship the swan boat, and I would have died.
Dude, if we cut to them just on those like swan boats that are like in like parks and stuff, the paddle boats, and that's what they had, would love it.
I think that it's just
Gollum creeping along behind.
when they arrive, there's just a lot of caution. You have dwarves coming. You have a dwarf coming in. You have hobbits who have probably not been to Lothlorien. You have one person that they know. You have someone from Gondor. They're not getting along with. The last we see all these groups together for the most part within this world is probably like the big battles.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they have right to be a little bit more on edge, a little bit more ceremonial with things. Because she's clearly seen some stuff, but not all of what's going on.
She's got to come off like a queen in the beginning, She's like, hey,
in case Frodo tries anything, like if he puts on that ring and starts wreaking havoc, like she's got to let him know, like she's in charge. And then like they become friends. You're right. It's like a weekend of camping, and now she can, let her hair down and pull.
Here's some stuff. Here you go. Here's some rope. What does Merry get? He
gets a dagger.
He gets a dagger.
Oh, he gets a dagger too. Okay.
Does Boromir get anything?
He gets a cloak, and that's a pat on the back, and a don't let the door hit you kind of thing.
I know you're gonna try to take the ring, so you don't really need anything else.
Just give him like a fake ring.
Yeah.
Just like this won't do everything that the one you want does, but maybe this will quench your thirst.
Which I never thought of this before, but on this watch, when she does say like, of whom I speak, like in terms of who's going to take the ring, did anybody else kind of wish that they like showed the ring's effect on any other members of the Fellowship at all, so that there would have been like some question maybe of who might turn? I'm not saying that's even what they're trying to do. I don't even know that they're trying to build that level of tension, but it would have been interesting, I feel like, to see Legolas maybe have a moment where he's tempted, and even Gimli. I mean, dwarves love gold, and we don't see Gimli get tempted at all, really.
Yeah, exactly. Like you hear her say that, and then one by one it will take them all. And so, Frodo sees Boromir try to take this. We'll get to this, and then he makes a decision to leave. But like, we don't think that Gimli and Legolas are going to try to take it. You know what I mean? Because we haven't even seen like I would have loved to see just like a whisper of that. Nothing to make me question them as like characters, but like
to make it less, because it's not surprising when Boromir approaches Frodo at all. So just to like build that suspense a little more.
Yeah.
Gimli gets, after he kind of says, "Nah, I don't need anything. I looked at you. That's good enough." Says
weird
in the boat when they're like, "So what did you get?" I asked for one lock of her hair and she gave me 3.
Oh, I feel like John Rhys Davies, or that's his name, right? That actor, John Rhys Davies, was allergic to his prosthetic. So, and I feel like in that shot in the boat, you can like really see one of his eyes like flaring out a bit. I was like, ugh, that sucks. Can you imagine how uncomfortable that probably was?
Yeah,
he had to shoot, I think for like a year, he had to shoot, I think every like few days, and then he had to heal, and then he had to do his scenes again.
That is a nightmare.
There are some shots where you can see like his eyes are so swollen.
Yeah,
like,
poor dude, man.
Just chugging Benadryl. He was probably so stoned out on Benadryl for like a year and a half that like he remembers none of this.
Like hours of makeup to sit through that every day and just like know the shit that you're going to be in.
And then you're in various conditions. You're in wet conditions. You're in cold conditions. You're in hot conditions. You're wearing, all this gear. I really like commend him because he's great in these movies.
I'm glad he didn't back out because of that, because he's so necessary.
Yeah.
Iconic.
He's so crucial.
Good. Yeah.
Good.
We go to scenes from the river journey with them, kind of going back and forth between that and Saruman's forces on land with the bum 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 bum.
Because
and they're running.
it's such a good thing too, because like Lothlorien's so chill and so calm, and we've been seeing a little bit of Saruman, but it hasn't been like that intense. And then we're out on the river, and then Aragorn and Legolas start hearing stuff, and then it's just like, bang, and I'm like, oh, that's right, they're in danger. There's people hunting them. I can't wait. Like
They make
so
it
cool.
they make it seem like Legolas looks and then the Uruk-hai looks and they can see each
Mhm.
other.
Yeah.
Oh, they
I used to
hunt,
think
yeah.
that they could, and then they can't. They
Yeah.
can't. But they know
they're miles away from each other, but it's
Yeah.
it's cut, so it feels like there's
Yeah.
a connection there.
You have Boromir watching Gollum. We've only seen little bits of Gollum throughout this this film so far, and
This
we just
was
get a little
not
bit
in the-
more.
Theatrical,
this-
right?
no.
Gollum floating, like hiding behind a log.
No.
can't
Does this mean that
Which is-
Gollum he didn't enter Lothlorien, right? Because they would have like found him, or did he enter Lothlorien and like chill out in the woods?
No, I don't think he came in.
Just on the outskirts, and then
Yeah.
when they left, he was like, okay, bye. All right.
Bye-bye. Yeah, so he's watching him, and Aragorn says something along the lines of, I wanted to catch him, but he's too clever a waterman, which is just a
He's
fun
too
line.
clever a what?
A waterman.
Yeah. Like
I love how sneaky Gollum actually is, but how they know that he's following him, and how Gollum thinks he's totally getting away with
Killing
it.
He thinks he's nailing
He's
it.
like, man, this log, I'm doing so good. They can't
Mm.
tell.
They
at
have
all.
no idea.
did you just like
I'm
picture
here.
him with like a straw coming out of his mouth, like underwater, like breathing through a straw?
Yeah.
You have Sam
That would
checking
be
in
so
on
cool.
Frodo. And then he's like, oh, you got to eat. You're not sleeping. What's going on? And he's like, just let me help. You can't help me, Sam. Not this time. He's just, come on, just eat something.
He's
Let's relax.
grieving, but
Yeah,
he
I'm
needs
So
to.
he's so effed up.
I love
Yeah.
Sam's
Really.
look though, because he's totally like, no, I'm gonna help you. Like Sam doesn't. He's like, I don't know what you're going through, but I'm not going anywhere. Like that's what his eyes say to me.
That
and I'm like,
promise
great.
to
Great.
Gandalf. You watch him. And then Boromir back on his Minas Tirith, Gondor.
Oh,
It's
God.
So
Minas Tirith
Aragorn, just
road.
hear me out.
Now
Yeah.
that Gandalf's not here, I know
Yeah.
that we have a connection.
Hear me out.
And there is no strength in Gondor that can avail us. And he's like, well, you're so quick to trust the elves. We came like we went to Rivendell, elves. Lothlorien, elves. What's going
I'm sick
on?
of the elves.
Yeah, enough of the elves already.
Yeah.
I will not lead the ring within 100 leagues of your city. It's like, oof.
Oh,
I think I closed the book on that
Ouchies.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really put the kibosh on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut it down.
that's like another. I would not go through the mines of Moria unless I had
No other
option.
choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
On the river, and then we pass the Argonath, the gates of the Argonath, which is Isildur and whom?
So I looked this up.
it's
In the
Aragorn's-
movie, it's
Yeah.
Isildur and Elendil, his father,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And then in the books, I think it was not Isildur. It was like Elendil and someone else.
Wait, isn't Isildur
Anarion.
Aragorn's dad? Or
Elendil
whatever.
was Isildur's dad, who fell and he picked up his father's sword and
Oh,
he
okay.
cut the ring from
Okay.
Sauron's hand.
Looks like in the books it's Isildur and Anarion
Yeah, I don't know who that
standing
is.
upon either side of the river Anduin. How about that?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, and the show is going to be taking place between those people, like that time, right? That first era, right? This is the third era of Middle Earth, I think. And
I think
show's
it's
in the second
before
era.
before them, before Isildur for sure.
Oh, is it? Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that took place that
Mhm.
far back.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's something like 3,000 years before the events of Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
One other thing I learned about the statues was that I used to think that they were telling people like, hang on, there's a waterfall up
Stop.
ahead. Yeah, don't come any closer because you're gonna go down a waterfall. But that was actually where the border of Gondor used to be before Gondor got like so not like shrunken or consolidated, but like before they like lost so much land. And
Mm.
yeah, that used to be the edge of Gondor being like, hey, don't enter.
Yeah.
It's
Warning to
This is
those
Gondor.
enemies.
Gondor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's that big waterfall, and then they kind of reach land, and that is where we are stopping. What
By the
more
way,
do you
those
say?
statues really make Mount Rushmore look like shit. Am I right?
Yeah.
Like,
Those
great.
statues are fantastic.
And the
So
cinematography going up the statue, and you see the birds kind of chirping
Yeah.
along as they
There's
fly
like a
by.
nest in them.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think there's a nest in the eye or the mouth or something in one of the statues.
Mm.
Oh,
And
that's
just like
good.
Yeah.
you can see, just when they're like paddling by the foot, and
I
you're
was gonna
like,
say, yeah,
Huge.
just that scale sense. You get like Aragorn's head next to like a toenail. It's
Yeah.
just like holy crap.
Aragorn, Mr. I'm not king, being like, oh, I've always wanted to look upon my family as he like looks over at Boromir.
yeah,
And I like that you can see how like some of it was like cut like towards the top. It's kind of like it looks like blocks were kind of like assembled into place, but at the bottom of it, you can tell it's like cut out of the mountain, more like Mount Rushmore style. So there's like
Mhm.
Yeah.
different building elements within it. Like just so much thought going into like
Yeah.
every,
So cool.
you know,
Yeah.
every detail.
you know, people died making those statues.
Mhm.
Well, I was gonna say, I was like, I was like, I want to look up the labor practices of the first era kings.
It wasn't
because
good.
Mount Rushmore cost a lot of lives. How many
No
did
OSHA
this
back
one
then.
cost? Yeah.
The pyramids,
Yeah.
you know that took some lives.
This was done by
Mhm.
slave labor. I'm gonna guess.
Was there slave labor in the
I'm gonna
of the
guess it
Isildur's
was.
time?
Men
I
are
don't know.
men, Matt.
But
White
this
men
was
are
the
white
golden
men.
age. This was the golden age of men, though, right? This is when they
Mhm.
were supposed to be at their
Yeah,
best.
but they invented that saying about themselves. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not playing defense on this one. I'm not going to be caught in the wrong side.
Stand down, Matt.
I'm
Stand
just
down.
saying I want to know. I just,
Know when to walk away.
And when to run.
Man, I can't wait for next week's episode. It's going to be
Oh my god, I know.
good stuff.
This is kind of a
Yes.
low key scenes.
Yeah, a lot of table
Yeah.
setting. So let's wrap it up with our winners and losers. And we'll hit those losers first. Matt.
God, everyone's. I guess. I guess Boromir continues to be a loser in a lot of. I mean, he only gets a cloak. He doesn't get his own gift.
yeah.
He can't, for the life of him, get his older brother, complex Aragorn brother, to agree to go to Gondor. And yeah, and he lost Gandalf too. So you know,
Yeah.
everyone's kind of a loser, but Boromir maybe most of the Fellowship, or
Sure,
I don't
sure.
know.
Mm.
Kelly.
I'm gonna go for a very obvious one, which is Frodo. You know, he was lost Gandalf, is shamed in Lothlorien by various people for bringing the ring there, and then is in the process of accepting the fact that he needs to do this journey alone. Obviously, that
Mhm.
doesn't end up happening, but just kind of that anxiety and anguish, kind of dreading those feelings, I imagine is really difficult. So I feel like this is just a tough time for Frodes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or should we call him
Bingo?
Bingo?
Bingo.
Which was his first draft name, or like
Yeah,
early
his
version of
Early
Frodo's name,
version
apparently.
name.
Bingo with the
Bingo
Ringo.
Baggins.
Bingo Baggins.
Didn't put the
Bingo,
last
bingo,
name in there before.
bongo.
Bingo
Baggins.
Bongo Baggins.
Yeah. I think Bingo Baggins was the club in Sopranos, wasn't it? The
Was it
joke
strip
was called the
club?
Bada Bing.
I'm just
I
now
was gonna say.
replacing. I'm replacing so many lines from Frodo with Bingo in my head, and they all sound so dumb. Like when he's like,
Terrible.
"Give
Yeah.
the ring to Bingo."
For
Boromir.
Bada Bingo Bangins. All right. Stacy. You're a
I
loser.
am not like confident in this pick. I don't feel strongly about this, but I'm gonna have to just say Gimli, solely because of the scene where he just gets so embarrassed by Haldir entering Lothlorien. He just looks like a fool. He's grieving his cousin. He led them through the mines. I mean, I think his loserness is continuing. It does.
Yeah.
I think it goes away by the end, but he's not doing great at the start of this episode.
Yeah.
Not at all.
My loser is whoever else wanted the light of Erendiel. Somebody else around there was probably promised it, then Frodo comes in because all the other gifts were like, here's some cloaks, here's some daggers, things that they
We
had
got
laying
these.
around. But
Yeah.
this was like an
Got tons
heirloom
of 'em.
in ancient
Yeah.
like, magic. And they're like, here you go. And somebody was definitely like, oh, come on.
Man.
Come on.
Those
Jeez.
elves, they hold a grudge, as we know.
Mhm.
Like
yeah.
they,
Mhm.
that guy's pissed for life for sure.
Sure do. Let's hit the winners. Stacy.
I'm gonna say my winner is Haldir because I think he greets everyone really well. I think he does his job.
It's a
I
decent
think-
intro with that,
Yeah.
that burn on Gimli.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think he's like really, I think he shows the right side of Lothlorien. Like they were on guard, they were ready, they
Mhm.
welcomed him in. I think he did what he needed to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kelly.
Well, I think it's
Your eyes are just like, man, I'm on
Well,
a
I
podcast.
I thought that maybe it was. Have we
Yes,
been
You
recording
rang.
this whole thing? I thought it was going to be Matt's turn, but I'll happily go. So my winner is kind of unconventional. My winner for this one is Gollum because
Nice.
he's stuck with them. I mean,
Mhm.
Doing
he-
a great
that means-
job.
he made it through Moria. So
Yeah.
like cool, good for you. Still followed them out of Lothlorien. And like we said, I'm pretty sure he thinks that he hasn't been seen.
Mhm.
So I feel like he probably feels pretty good about himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that happens throughout the trilogy too. People just feel like, hey, there's Gollum again.
People kind of always see him.
Yeah. Is that bush that's moving? Yeah, that's Gollum.
Is it the guy with the newspaper and big glasses and a fake nose and mustache? Yeah, that's Gollum.
Matt.
Gotta go with Galadriel. She passed that test. She gets to
Yeah.
go. She gets to go in the West now. Which what that test was, I don't know. It was over pretty quick.
She had to be green and loud.
It was on
Yeah.
Orc history.
She gets to give cool gifts. Like she's so dope that Gimli just wants like one of her hairs, and she's like, "You can have three." Like she's, she hosted. She's got a great city. She's queen. She passed the test. She's got a ring of power. She's a winner.
You bring up a good
Yeah.
point, Matt. They're all preparing to go to the Undying Lands, I guess. So that's why they're just getting rid of all this shit.
Yeah, they're-
Instead of moving.
Yeah, it's gonna
Spring
help us
cleaning.
out. Yeah.
Purple
No,
Lurtz.
please take it. Take it.
Yeah. On the outskirts of Lothlorien, there's just a bunch of daggers, robes, rope. Yeah.
And there's
For
just a sign that
sale
says
sign on
free.
it.
Yeah. Please take one.
Yeah.
My winner was Galadriel for reasons already named. She passed the test, and she's like,
shouldn't
cool,
let me go
now I can
first,
die
sorry."
in peace. So I am, as I look through, I'm going to go with Lurtz as a winner. He's fine. He got out of class now. The history lesson, the scholastic
Lurtz.
portion of his education is now over. Now it's on the job training. He's out there leading everybody and making great time as far as I could tell. They're picking, they're
Yeah.
moving
He's not
along.
even
Uruk-hai
breaking
just
a
runs.
sweat.
No.
Yeah.
Like he's
And they're
he's doing great.
wearing metal sheets
So
Mhm.
much. They look
Yeah.
so heavy. They're like the heaviest looking
and
people.
clunky and
Metal
just
sheets.
Like their hair is
Armor.
just like heavy dreadlocks.
no,
Yeah.
Mike, metal sheets.
Yeah.
Skin made of metallic substance.
Yeah, they're
Um,
they're fast.
Yeah. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Stacy. My fellowship. Thank you all for listening. Bye.
Thanks, Mike. Bye.
Bye.